recognizing toxic behaviors. This is the silent battlefield, the place where most of us fight daily without ever acknowledging it. The battlefield of toxic behavior. You may not hear gunshots, but you feel the bruises. You may not see enemies, but their words leave scars. And worst of all, you may not even know you're in a war. Today's video is your armor, your map, your awakening. Because once you learn to recognize toxic behaviors, you stop walking blindly into emotional ambushes and you start reclaiming your power. So settle in, stay present, and prepare yourself. Before we begin, subscribe. This is the silent battlefield. And today, you learn to win. The invisible war. Why toxic behavior is hard to recognize. Toxic behavior rarely enters our lives with loud footsteps. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't start with hatred or aggression. Toxic behavior begins slowly, disguised as love, concern, loyalty, or even just joking. It comes in the form of the friend who always needs a favor, but disappears when you need them. The partner who apologizes only to repeat the same behavior tomorrow. The co-worker who accidentally embarrasses you in front of others. The family member who plays victim every time you set a boundary. We normalize these patterns because they don't feel like attacks, but like misunderstandings. We rationalize them because we fear being alone, fear being wrong, or fear conflict. And slowly, we become accustomed to disrespect. But you're here because some part of you, conscious or subconscious, is tired. Tired of giving more than you receive. Tired of feeling guilty for things that aren't your fault. Tired of wondering why you don't feel understood, valued, or safe around certain people. The first truth you need to accept on the silent battlefield is this. Toxic behavior is only invisible until you learn to see it. And today, you will. The 7 most common toxic behaviors in everyday life. These are the behaviors that silently drain your emotional energy, weaken your confidence, and distort your reality. Let's break them down one by one. 1. Manipulative kindness. Not all kindness is pure. Some people help you so they can later use it as a weapon. They give so they can control. They support you so they can guilt trip you later. This is the classic, I've done so much for you. How can you treat me like this? Genuine kindness is given freely. Manipulative kindness is a contract you never signed. The red flag, kindness that comes with strings attached. 2, the chronic victim. Now, this type never takes responsibility. Everything is always someone else's fault. Life happens to them, never because of their choices. They use pity as a tool, tears as manipulation, weakness as control, and the danger. They drain you emotionally until you feel responsible for their life, their feelings, their happiness. That is not compassion. That is emotional captivity. 3, gaslighting. Gaslighting is psychological warfare camouflaged as conversation. It sounds like you're overreacting. That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. Why are you so sensitive? Translation: your reality threatens their narrative, so they rewrite it. When someone diminishes your feelings, your memory, or your understanding of events, you're not dealing with confusion. You're dealing with someone who wants power over your mind. 4, conditional love. This one hurts. This is when affection, acceptance, or attention depends on how much you obey, serve, or sacrifice for them. You get love only when you agree, stay silent, comply, and when you stop. Silence, distance, coldness, withdrawal. Conditional love is not love. It's emotional blackmail. 5, jealous sabotage. Some people don't want to see you fail. They just don't want you to do better than them. They discourage your goals and they laugh at your dreams. They point out the risks, but never the possibilities. They support you while secretly hoping you stay small. Toxic jealousy is invisible sabotage, and you feel it, even when you can't explain it. Sixth theme, arrogant dismissal. These are the people who talk over you,
minimize your achievements,
make you feel stupid, inferior, or irrelevant, treat your opinions like inconveniences. Arrogant people use superiority to hide deep insecurity, and they make you doubt your worth because it strengthens theirs. 7, boundary breaking. You say,
I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want that.
I need space. I need time. And they respond with, you're selfish, you're dramatic, you're unreasonable.
No matter how clearly you speak, they cross your lines because your boundaries threaten their control. But here's the truth.
People who respect you will respect your limits. People who don't respect you will resent your limits. People target certain personalities. Toxic individuals don't choose randomly. They gravitate towards specific types of people. And if you've dealt with repeated toxic patterns, you might be one of these types. Not because you are weak, but because you possess strengths toxic people exploit. Let's break them down. 1, the empath. You feel deeply. You sense emotions without words. You connect to pain you didn't cause. Empaths attract toxicity because you want to heal, you want to help, you want to understand, you forgive easily. You see the good even when it's hidden. Your heart becomes a battlefield because toxic people know you won't fight back immediately.
2, the peacekeeper.
You hate conflict.
You try to avoid drama.
You stay quiet to keep the peace. Peacekeepers become prey because toxic individuals know you'd rather stay uncomfortable than create tension. They push your limits because they know you won't push back. 3, the hard worker. You give 100%.
You show up, you take responsibility, you do more than you share. Toxic people love hard workers because they can drain you endlessly without giving anything in return. 4, the optimist.
You believe people can change. You believe every relationship can improve. You believe every story can be rewritten. Your optimism is beautiful, but it makes you vulnerable to those who never intend to change. 5, the loyal one. You don't abandon people, even when they hurt you, even when you should, even when they stop deserving your loyalty. Your loyalty is powerful. Toxic individuals twist it into a chain around your neck.
How to identify toxicity in real time. Recognition is the first step toward liberation. So here are the most reliable signs you're in the presence of toxic behavior. 1, you feel drained after interacting with them.
Healthy people energize you. The toxic people exhaust you, but your body knows before your mind does. 2, you question your worth around them. You start wondering, am I enough? Am I doing something wrong? Why do I feel tense around them? Your self-esteem shouldn't shrink in someone's presence.
3, you change your behavior to avoid upsetting them.
You walk on eggshells. You rehearse your words.
You hide your feelings.
You minimize your needs. When you change who you are to keep someone comfortable, you're in danger. 4, your accomplishments become threats, not celebrations. You share good news and they change the subject, make it about themselves, point out flaws, show jealousy. Someone who loves you will never compete with you. 5, you feel guilty for things that shouldn't create guilt. You feel guilty for saying no.
needing time to yourself,
wanting respect, asking for clarity.
expressing emotions.
This isn't guilt, this is manipulation in disguise. 6. They rewrite events to make you the villain. You confront them as they twist it. You express hurt. They laugh or dismiss it.
You call out disrespect, suddenly you are the unreasonable one. Gaslighting alert, run.
7. Your intuition feels suffocated. Deep down, you know.
You always know.
If something feels off, don't silence it. Your intuition is the alarm system your childhood taught you to ignore. The psychology behind toxicity.
Here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear. Toxic people are not always evil.
But they are emotionally underdeveloped, insecure, wounded, or power hungry. Understanding the psychology doesn't excuse them. It reveals why you must protect yourself. Let's break down the root causes. 1. Insecurity and self-hate.
Many toxic behaviors come from deep insecurity. To avoid feeling inferior, they
belittle others, attack, manipulate, dominate. Hurting others becomes their way of avoiding their own reflection. 2. Fear of abandonment. Some people guilt trip, cling, cry, or manipulate because they fear being left. But their fear becomes your prison. 3. Lack of emotional maturity.
Toxic people often never developed
Accountability, empathy,
self-awareness, communication. They respond like children trapped in adult bodies.
4. Desire for control.
Control is their security blanket.
If they control you, they feel safe.
If they lose control, they panic, rage, or manipulate.
5. Trauma repetition.
Some toxic people repeat what they learned from their environment.
They recreate chaos because it feels familiar, but familiarity is not love, it's conditioning.
How to disarm toxic behavior.
This is where your power begins. You don't win this battle with aggression, you win it with clarity, boundaries, and emotional armor. Here's how. 1. Stop explaining yourself. Toxic people don't want understanding. They want control.
When you feel the urge to explain, justify, or rationalize,
stop. A simple no is enough. 2. Set boundaries without apology. Your boundary doesn't need permission, approval, validation, acceptance. Your boundary is a line,
not a negotiation. 3. Limit access. You don't have to cut people off immediately,
but you do need to limit your time, your emotional investment, your vulnerability. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. 4. Identify their tactics. Once you can label their behavior, it loses power. Oh, that's gaslighting. That's guilt tripping. That's manipulation. That's disrespect. Naming the tactic reveals the truth and protects you from the lie. 5. Document patterns.
Patterns don't lie.
People do. If someone apologizes but repeats the behavior, it wasn't an apology, it was an intermission. 6. Don't engage in emotional warfare. Toxic people love reactions. Your silence becomes their defeat. Your calm becomes their exposure.
When you stop reacting, they lose their weapon.
7. Walk away when necessary. Some battles aren't meant to be fought. Some people aren't meant to be saved. Some relationships aren't meant to continue. Walking away is not weakness.
It is the highest form of self-respect.
How to heal after toxicity.
Recognizing toxic behavior is the first battle.
Healing is the war after.
Here's how you rebuild yourself.
1. Relearn your worth. Toxic behavior distorts your self-image. You begin to question your value, but you must reclaim the truth.
You were never the problem, you were the supply.
2. Rebuild your identity.
You've spent so long shrinking, silencing, adjusting, and bending.
Now you must rediscover your voice, your desires, your boundaries, your dreams. You're not who they said you were. You're who you decide to become now. 3. Seek safe people.
Not everyone is dangerous and not everyone is toxic. Find the people who understand your silence, respect your boundaries, celebrate your growth, and support your peace.
These are your allies on the battlefield.
4. Practice emotional independence.
Learn to
Self-soothe,
self-validate,
self-reflect.
self-protect.
Your greatest strength is the ability to stand solid without needing someone else to keep you stable.
5. Forgive yourself, not them. Forgive yourself for staying too long, ignoring red flags, giving too much, hoping too hard,
Trusting too deeply.
You didn't fail. You learned. The final battle is choosing yourself.
At the end of the silent battlefield, there is a choice.
Continue living in environments that exhaust you, or walk toward the peace you deserve. Toxic people fear one thing more than anything else: a person who realizes their worth. Because the moment you recognize it, you stop being their victim and become your own protector. You're not here to carry anyone's emotional baggage. You're not here to be manipulated, diminished, controlled, or used.
You're not here to survive toxicity.
You're here to rise above it. The silent battlefield becomes loud the moment you speak your truth. Comment below, I choose peace over toxicity. Let this be your declaration, your affirmation, your first step toward reclaiming your life. And if this video resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. Your voice may help someone else win their silent battle. You have the strength, you have the awareness, you have the clarity, and now you have the tools. Recognizing toxic behavior isn't about judging others. It's about protecting yourself. The battlefield is silent, but victory is loud. And today, your healing begins. You just walked through a battlefield most people spend their entire lives avoiding. And the fact that you made it to the end of this video tells me something important.
You're ready for the next level.
Recognizing toxic behaviors is only the first step. The next step is even more powerful.
Learning how to build a mind so strong, so unshakable, so disciplined
that no toxic person can ever influence, manipulate, or break you again. If you're tired of repeating the same emotional battles, if you feel ready to elevate your mental strength, if you want to walk into every relationship with clarity, confidence, and unshakable boundaries, then your journey isn't over. It's just beginning. Because in the next video, I'm going to show you how to build a mind that intimidates manipulators, how to master emotional detachment, how to respond to toxicity with strategy instead of reaction,
and how to become the version of yourself no one can control. Click on the next video right now.
The mind they can't break.
It's already waiting for you.
And before you go, comment below. I choose peace, power, and clarity. Let this be the oath you take before stepping into the next chapter. You survived the silent battlefield.
Now it's time to rise above it. I'll see you in the next video,
where your transformation truly begins.